What up? Welcome back. Oh, hold on. I forgot to cue. I did dressed up nice today, and I thought, you know what? I can't. Hold on. I got to pull. I can't let a good outfit go to waste. So we're gonna hop on and do some throwback letter style. We got the suspenders, and then we can run it. Is this Tarrow something else? What up, Nova, Suan, Williams, Norma Fig? What up, Odessa, Florida? How's it going? All right, we're it's gonna run it quick. Okay, backdrop. You know, everyone's been not everyone, but there's been a handful of people that are bugging out on spiritual shit and then calling it demonic and then saying and then going to Jesus. I was thinking, what if something happened in the opposite direction? Because that homie hit me up and she was like, she might have been joking, I'm not sure, but she said yoga's been pissing me off. I'm going to the dark side or something like that. I was like, what? It was interesting because I thought, holy shit, what? Everyone keeps going to Jesus. That didn't necessarily take him to. So what's good with that? But I'm gonna do a tarot reading. Some weird shit going on. So, I don't even know what we'll call this. What do you guys think? What kind of tarot reading should we call it? I know I spelled tarot wrong. Whatever. I was trying to be cute. Plus sprites. Everyone loves sprites. Woosa. Woosa. Good evening. It's Saturday over here on the West Coast in California. I hope you guys are doing well. Nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm your host, Keith. If you find yourself new here, take your shoes off, stay a while, introduce yourself, say what up to the squad. Thanks for being here and chilling. Saturday night and everything's shut down over here. What else can we do? Remember December 21st? Remember. Oh, you are my son, the one and true king. Remember the 21st is some serious cosmic shit. So do your homework, get your sleep, get your journals out, get your dream journals out. Dance around naked by moonlight. Whatever you got to do to get your head straight. If you can't get your head straight, fucking get creative. Life is too short to have your head not straight most of the time, unless you enjoy it being a little crooked, but then it's by design, so it's all good. Just get your head where you want it, and be ready to watch the stars fly. Be ready to watch the stars fly. Richie, what's up, Richie? LinkedIn, Discord. What about Discord links? Do you want me to link the Discord? Yes, one question. I'll get that to you in a sec. I can't find the share button on my Discord for the life of me. Now that I switched over to the app on my laptop. Anywho. Shaw Sykes, how's it going? Kieran, how's it going? All right. Oh, actually, Richie, do you want to hop on a live? I was going to do a card pull, and a card pool and jam. If you want to jam for the next 45 minutes or so, let me know. I can shoot you. Possibly we can get the audio to work this time. Who knows? Here's a link to the Discord, you guys, if you want to stay up to date with the things that we're doing and the goings on in the world of the Man of Letters. I'm doing good, Shaw Sykes. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it. I put the link for this broadcast in. Oh, thank you, Richie. Thank you kindly. Sweet. So if that's the case, we're gonna have Richie step in and just be homies for a sec. Hold on. Participants, invites, invitation has been copied. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is. And here is the code: 9774339. Great. I said it out loud, so now all of you guys have the code. Huh. Be quick with it. All right, cool. I'm gonna do a card pull before all that gets going. This is gonna be for the group, so you guys give me 3 numbers quick. I'm pulling the first 3 numbers from you guys so that it's relevant to what we're doing. And the direction I'm going with is there's a lot of weird shit fucking with people's minds right now. I want to ask why, but maybe the why is not so much important at the moment. Maybe we've been doing too much of the why. Maybe we should be a little more proactive and say, it's weird times for the mind. How can we make it better? How can we put our mind at fucking ease? How can we enjoy ourselves? How can we see the magic a little more clearly? How can we have a little bit more faith, a little more confidence in what we're doing, a little more, you know what I mean? Just that general all around fucking, that's what we're going for. It's all linked to these next couple weeks. There's cool stuff happening. I know it. Happy birthday, club. Born on Earth. What up? Oh, 378. Cool. Thanks. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. No, not doing the third. We're doing the 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting spread. We have a reversed 10 of Pentacles. We have a Temperance. We have a reversed Foolish Man. 10 of Pentacles, if I am not mistaken, is Lord of Wealth. Lord of Wealth. Okay. Listen up. Oh, this is the Benefactor one. We pull this card a lot, actually. It's in the reverse this time. So the 10 of Coins reverse suggests that having to make an entirely new start is sometimes a blessing. You may feel you've experienced terrible loss or fall from grace. This may be true, but both the having and the losing are part of the fluctuating evolution of human consciousness. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. All right. And then the foolish man. I'm trying to put these all together before I say anything because I'm not feeling that definition at all. So hold on. Suggests that the seemingly noble deed of offering yourself as a sacrificial lamb is, at least for the time being, a useless gesture. All right. All right. I think I got it for you guys. Hold on. All right. So we have a pretty blunt spread, it seems like. Ten of Pentacles is saying start over, more or less. You've hit the road to fall from grace. Woe is me. Get over it. Make a new start. Second is Temperance, which is asking for a substantial lifestyle change to meet you, which you did a ton of reading on last night. You should definitely check out that. Well, then I'll finish. And the foolish man says, don't sacrifice yourself. So the foolish man, the hangman, no, not the hangman. It's the same thing as hangman, right? There's different names for him. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was reversed fool. You are encountering an unfinished side of yourself, a part still caught in the shadows of ignorance or immaturity. An emotional reflex or psychological attitude could be holding you back from responding authentically and naturally. Release yourself from any dogmas or taboos so your natural truthfulness and instinct for right action can be restored. Make a new start, card 1. Card 2. Grow in the areas that you specifically need to grow. We'll talk about that in a sec. I got a lot of good juicy information on that one from yesterday. And the foolish man in the reverse position. It's basically telling you that it's coming from your dark side. It's coming from the subconscious. It's coming from the shadow that's holding you back, holding me back. Why is she holding me back? That being said, we'll get Richie on the channel. That's good. That's noted because that's in par with what we've been reading the past couple days, which is focused mind. When you focus your desire on something, one of the things that happens is we start to focus on the faculties within us that we need to activate in order to meet that desire. If you want a super grand desire, then you have to change substantially to meet that desire. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of get fucked up in the head a bit, is because they have these great ambitions, as we should, but we're not willing to put in the work on ourselves so that we match that. And then we have this sort of cognitive dissonance where we're hating on ourselves constantly because we're not where we should be. And we have these grand goals and we're not doing anything to get them. Some friends become enemies. Some enemies become friends. But just know that those things we need to work on are definitely going to be in the shadow, which is dope because the shadow stuff isn't necessarily bad stuff. It's just stuff that we've put in the shadow. Some of it is awesome stuff. It's just like throwing a bunch of shit in the closet. The closet's not a bad place. You just tend to start throwing shit there. Then you start going through the closet and you go, oh, this is shitty. That's why I threw it in there. And then some stuff you're like, fuck, this is awesome. Like I've been looking everywhere for this. And that's the reversed fool card. Have fun. We're getting Richie on the channel now. Hopefully everything goes well. Uh-oh, I don't hear you yet. It says you're muted. I will ask to unmute.
Check. Hello.
Okay, you're no longer unmuted. Now your video needs to be turned on. I think maybe.
1 2 1 2.
Ask to start video.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I think I might have to turn you up or turn me up. Give me a sec.
All right. No worries. Take your time.
Okay, I hear you. Whoop whoop.
Woo. Hello. Awesome spread you just pulled, by the way.
I know that was a cool one. That was useful. That was a useful one. Welcome, man. It's been a while since we've had you on the channel.
Gratitude, for sure, for sure. Life has been a crazy adventure, so gratitude to everybody on the pathway. Tons of people in the chat. Agent Smith, shout outs. Bless.
Agent Smith's in here? Or just what up, Smith? Nice. Thank you for the links, Sir Smith.
So I just want to make sure I got the notes right. You said the first card was like related to a new start, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second one, it's got grow, and I kind of lost the rest of it.
Second one was finding the key pieces. What was it again? Oh, temperance. Which is basically working on yourself to meet the challenge. Is what I got out of it. More so than the attracting the challenge, but like, what do you need specifically to get that thing? And then the last was the reversed fool, which was saying that a lot of it's sort of shadowy, subconscious stuff.
Okay. So related to like focus in that way.
Yeah, specifically that temperance one was huge in the focus, which is kind of like what the book was talking about last night. So I was like, it's not. It's like it's going. We're going. The energy is staying consistent at least.
All right. Well, I mean, just for linearity, you want to talk about the new start that 2020 has been for you?
The whole year.
I mean, it's 12/12, literally. Like, what better time to do a wrap up? You know, look back. Whoa, might get an idea from it. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. All right. All right. One of the recap. I've been getting really good at being super abrupt and blunt with people, like when I don't want to be involved with their shits.
Okay, so right in my, I hear you. In my language, because I'm going to use like my rainbow crystal as my reference. Like that's just kind of where my brain runs from.
Please do.
You've got, and for anybody who's not familiar, you'll figure it out. I'm sure it's pretty gentle, pretty straightforward. Dark blue. That's dark blue. You figured out your dark blue delivery pattern. That says that when someone's expressing to you something and you have sort of a compassionate no, you're not in any way, shape, or form afraid to deliver that frequency.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are like light blue flood, light blue, only talking good, love and light, good things, even though it can be toxic and negative in some ways. So
yeah, that I like that the dark blue. Yeah, and it's so that this year has been like what's too far, because normally I'm the light blue guy, like always like light blue. And now it's just like there's just so much going on, dude. There's just so much, and the external and the internal. I'm like, fuck, I gotta clean it up somewhere. You know what I mean?
For sure. And I think what you may be noticing is like a reflection, because they would all be connected, and you're talking about a feeling state in some ways, how you're feeling as though you want to be communicating clearly. And so that feeling state is reinforced, and you're owning the feelings you're having, creating a sovereign narrative, and then moving through it, which allows your language to reflect the fact that your position is different, your stance is different.
Yeah.
So that means that conversationally you have a totally different beat on things. But if I could take a second and jump away real quick, I popped a circuit, so I got to go and kick it back on just so I can get the main screen back so I can talk directly. So I'll be like 30 seconds.
Yeah, do you think?
Very good. Gratitude.
What up? All right, just an introduction. This is Richie. It goes by Richie Breathe, I believe now, formally. And super homies, we're just on the channel chatting it up. Smith, yeah, Pat's Art, what's up? Glad you stopped by, Pat's Art. Glad you stopped by.
There, it's not one archon, it's another, man.
And yo, the archons have been hot. You guys just beware. Beware.
I missed that. What'd you say?
No, I said the archons can be hot at the moment, so beware.
Oh, definitely so. For sure. So like in that way, the growing part, what did you want to talk about as far as the reading that you did, the forces and how you used them? Because that chapter last night was super awesome. It's like a study group, man. Like I think it's so dope.
It is. I know. It is. That's why That's what I realized last night. I was like, should I go over this? And then my second thought was absolutely, because I didn't understand it. So if anything, I would like to get it. But yeah, so I talked about mostly the two functions of desire, and one of the functions of desire was to um, get your mind, body, and soul working coherently towards that goal.
Hmm.
And then the second function of desire was um, starting to channel that energy of desire into the latent parts in your body that need to be activated in order to get that thing, as well as enforcing the ones that are parts of you that are already acted, but making them 2, 3, 4 times as strong. So it's like a double whammy. And the temperance card was the plug, basically saying, work on the things that you need to work on to match that goal. It was like, okay, all right, so like getting myself in a position to accept that thing if it's even here, because a lot of things that we want, we can't. Like, there's no way we could support the blessings in our current state. It's kind of like the old saying: if you give if an addict wins the lottery, the chances of them dying of an overdose increases dramatically, because it's like, all right, they have a flood of resources, but they themselves haven't actually made substantial changes to handle those new resources. So like that's a really fun and interesting part of the conversation that I feel like I don't have enough.
For sure. It sounds like you're talking about some kind of rewiring your energetic nervous system in order to handle a higher capacity or a higher load.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one thing I noticed is, and like, this is just kind of where I'm coming from, so maybe it'll set a tone, but for a while I ran with some people and put on some shows because I'm a sound guy and set up a lot of speakers and projectors and build stages and have done that stuff for a long time. And I'd run with people who were very rock and roll, very like in it for the experience, and like always would have some kind of new big thing or new toy or trinket they were trying out, and were always very emotionally attached to things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that when I started to run with people who were, hmm, in some ways it was related to the fact that it was a corporate environment, but they were more detached. I learned a different form of precision of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really hang out in the corporate because I was putting up and taking down like Microsoft conventions and like Amazon style stuff, like really big things.
Uh-huh.
And it just got too faceless for me. Like the pay was great and the work was fairly easy if you knew how to execute it in a relaxed way. But there was a lot of making sure you were downtown at the right place at the right time and to get everything coordinated with the labor unions involved.
Uh,
So I come from community theater, volunteer stuff. You got a band that you rehearse in your garage and you want to set up a stage in your backyard. Cool, let's get everything set up so you don't pop a breaker kind of stuff.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it took a while for me to adjust my internal nervous system once I got out of the corporate space, that when I interacted with people who were on their own frequency, to not sort of expect them to be not legit. Because I ran with so many people who was like, they wanted to be a big show, so maybe they would make some weird choices at the show. They make some weird
Uh,
choices on the way to the show. And I was like, this doesn't sound like how we talked about it could be executed. Versus when I ran with other people, it's just a matter of like wiring yourself so that you respond to the signals that you want, I guess.
did you
Because
say
if
it's
you,
some kind of like shiny object syndrome? You're kind of bouncing to the next piece of excitement
for sure, I
at
think there's
whim.
there's definitely people who are like thinking about the growth metaphor, the roots and the branches. You want to look at your roots and then see what branches they're kind of powering.
Mm.
And if you have branches and you don't know where those branches are getting their roots from, sort of there's a water pathway. That's arguably what some tantra studies involve, is being aware of the water in your body. Where how much of the water in your body right now is in your blood? How much of the water in your body is in your eyeballs? How much of the water in your body is in your eardrums? Because we're losing water through our eyes by looking at the screen. All of us, and all of us listening, are technically losing water through our eardrums because we're experiencing pressurized fatigue. Yeah, exactly. That membrane's busted. So we're emitting small amounts of vibration to have these experiences internally. And if you're wiring yourself to have negative relations or like caustic interactions, it
Mm-hmm.
can mean that you only see those because that's what your receptor sites are looking for.
For
So even
sure.
if you're around something cool, you hear where I'm pointing at.
Yeah. That's spot on. But
Mm-hmm.
carry on. Were you finishing the thought, or was that it?
I'm kind of stitching it together because I think that I got a lot of just the spread from the new start, the growth, and the focus is true looking at 2020 for me. Because I realized that, like, structurally speaking, divination is my least favorite school of magic. It
Mm.
just is. But that's predicated on the fact that if you look at the future, you're changing the future by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes it's useful, and if other people want to do spreads and stuff, sure. But I'm not really gonna pull cards too often. I don't tend to put too much energy
So
into
what if you're
that
not
form
using
of.
it for the future though? What if you're just using it for like that spread wasn't like how is it going to be in the future? It was like we're experiencing something. What's a good way forward with this experience? Not necessarily about the future.
Fair, for sure.
You
And I
still are you
guess
still like do you still have the negative feeling towards it, or is it just solely that the future thing that you're not happy
I
with?
guess I've been burnt out by so many experiences with individuals who wanted to know what to do to get somewhere, or
Oh, okay.
to know something mentally, and
Uh,
they rob themselves of making the physical changes in the world because their deck didn't tell them to, kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
So, you bring valid points, and I'll
You
definitely
got to get a
reconsider.
deck that tells them to bring shit into the real world. Then get a
Word.
deck to tell them to stop using their deck and to go outside and.
That's like the magic 8 ball that says, put this down. Like,
My bad. You're right. Okay. I'll get a job.
fair, for sure, for sure. And I mean, the thing is, I kind of lump all the divinations together because I don't think that tarot's necessarily bad because I feel the same way about tea leaves. I feel the same way, like everything in my life is omen. Like
Moonstones.
runestones are super awesome, but like I feel pulling stones is the same way. Everything is an omen. I'm gonna open the door, I'm gonna see the weather, and that's an omen. I'm gonna go down the stairs, and if there's leaves on the bottom of the stairs, that's an omen. If I'm gonna go and there's a certain color of rocks, that's an omen. Like my brain's just flooded with that Carlos Castaneda frequency, so
What about human bones? Casting human bones, man.
that sounds duper spooky.
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah, fair, fair.
Oh, that's a good question. What is your favorite form of? Well, then what word would you use? Because you don't divination. You don't like, right? That's the word that you used.
For sure, yeah. Divination is my least favorite school or form of magic. This is is how I usually phrase it when I'm trying to talk to people about the Western magical tradition and try to like conceptualize and contextualize things.
So so then how are you defining magic then? Is that like Western compared to Eastern? Like Buddhism is a kind of magic and or
Word. For sure. And in my mind, magic running with the K in the sound just because that gives it that kind of flair.
yes,
Rather than illusion,
appreciated.
because like Copperfield's super awesome. I got no idea what's
Might be
going on.
more impressive most of the time.
It's intense stuff. I'd say that magic to me is technology that we don't yet understand.
hmm Okay, I like that.
So as soon as you understand advanced technology, it kind of becomes less magical. But that doesn't mean that your Etsy shop isn't confusing to a 6-year-old down the street. Like maybe not. Maybe 6-year-olds are sharp these days. I do not know what the 6-year-old brain is right now as far as e-commerce, but they may have it like.
Fuck.
But that being said, I think the form that I would identify with as favorite forms of magic have to do with. Hmm, see if I can phrase this right. Enchantment.
Hmm. I like that a lot.
Thank you much. It's a little earthy. It's a little bit in that space, but
Dude, I just saw a forest, a glow in the dark forest with mushrooms popping out and like little sprites running around. Which is
ding.
also my favorite form if that's the tree you're barking up.
For sure. Like that would be the exact place where on the astral plane there would apparate a rainbow crystal temple, and that's where I'm hanging out all the time. But it's
Dope.
like it apparates floating castle style, so it doesn't damage under the mycelium. Like I know, I understand. You gotta these waveforms are structured in that way.
They will
But
make their way to the sky eventually, man. Don't you? Into the floating.
right, and it's like a sound wave, like the membrane. It'll keep floating. The castle will float above the mycelium network, and it'll keep moving upward, and it's that kind of constant rising force. But I think it was. Um, maybe yesterday, maybe a different day. You were mentioning sigil,
Hmm.
and I was away from the keyboard. So you said, it, and I was like, "Drat! All right, sigil. Think of it out of the chat. Hope somebody else types it." And then, right, right. In that way, I did obtuse amounts of sigil craft for about 3 years.
Would you consider that enchantment? That was gonna be my next question. What are your forms of enchantment?
Ah, very good. In that way, I'd say that someone can use sigil magic for an enchanted focus. But the way that I'm utilizing the word enchantment is a different way of saying enlightenment. Because enlightenment would be an inner frequency where you're kind of dialing in the, let's see if I get this right, the frequency, the amplitude, and the kind of the depth within of your own light, and that would be enlightenment. Sometimes people have like a reservoir of peace within them, so they're enlightened in that way. Sometimes individuals know what their life purpose is, so they're enlightened in that way.
Mm.
Sometimes individuals are just fucking happy about everything. They're enlightened in that way.
Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah.
with that as sort of a platform, enchantment would be sort of utilizing that same chanting concept of mantra or reality programming externally, because I once was told for mantras, if you say a mantra, it's like single power. So if you say like a magic word or something, it's like single power. But if you whisper it, it's like 10 times power. Because the power of like that reserved tone causes you to take your blues essentially and tether them in so that you're making a more refined crystalline expression, because it requires more consciousness to whisper than it does to yell or talk. To think it in the voice of your mind would be 1,000 times. So that means that the mantra is an internal process. So that enchantment would be ways that I can find personally and collectively to look at the reality through the lenses of that glow in the dark magical forest,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that that's what this place was before there was a building here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what this place will be after we stop counting time.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. One, you guys should look up that we were talking about. I used to do a cool Kundalini meditation where it was like say the chant out loud, then whisper it, then in your mind. It was one of my favorite things. And then two, the enchanted forest, and elaborate on that, because that was kind of like that was, or at least to me, seemed like what the book was talking about last night. Also, it was oh fuck, what's my narrowed down question? Go further on people having their own forms of enlightenment.
Word, I'm
In
down.
regards to that, because that's cool. I haven't heard it put
I'm gonna
that
throw
way.
some shouts real quick. Blessed to
Yeah.
Nova, blessed to Pat's Art 4, blessed to Agent Smith again, blessed to Sonia, just doing shouts to the chat, blessed to Cosmic Bear, who's
Sonia.
running the Matrix glitch cloud frequencies. I totally understand. It's a crazy, crazy world out there. And then the Happy Hippie. Wait, sweet. You gotta start somewhere. Tarot cards are pretty cool. Gotta make sure to have a good relationship with the deck. That's an important thing. Like people get a boat and they want to learn to sail. Ideally, you've learned about sailing before you bought the boat. If not, okay. If you now have
Richie
a boat,
doesn't want you to have a tarot card or a tarot deck.
what I'm saying is that you want to learn a little bit about it before you get it. Because if you're learning about a boat while you're on the boat, you could make some critical errors on the way that could be really detrimental to your long-term process of
You
understanding.
could die.
Dun, dun, dun.
You will die. Yeah, proper shout out. Thank you. I second all the shout outs. Happy Hit Cosmic. Shayla, what up? Sykes, Sonia, Pats.
Mm-hmm. Bless, community vibes. Happy to share. The idea of enlightenment spread between different individuals, like I mentioned 3 factors, and I'm kind of arbitrarily beginning to make measurements because I know there's a common language and common ground that a lot of other pieces will synchronistically connect to.
Mm.
So we'll just say that there's like a peaceometer. And just so you know, how I'm doing this is I'm putting utmost faith in my experience as a rainbow expression of light, and then not judging the words that come through my mind. However, I am sort of parsing them and proofreading them and editing them to make sure that they make sense before I say them. So it's
Let's
like
not be ridiculous.
just trying to let you know. We'll call it a peaceometer. So everybody has their own peaceometer or a peaceometer. And how peaceful you are is what level of the peaceometer you're at. So you could have like low levels of peace. You are not very peaceful. Maybe you just got done playing Cyberpunk 2077 and you're like super hyped because it's supposed to be a really awesome game. No, hey, here's it. No worries. Animus alive. So that way, maybe you see like a waterfall or something that's higher end of the peaceometer. You'd be like, wow, there's a giant waterfall and I'm a safe distance away and it's a nice day and I have some good food and I'm around good people and the moisture in the air is invigorating because I remind myself that I'm alive and every place is different. That could be a higher range of peaceometer experience. So that could be one way to measure someone's enlightenment or inner light. Whereas you could also say, man, I really enjoy when I get to hang out with Lou. Lou's just a cool guy. I don't know what about it is. Just the aura of calmitude is emitted. And then you keep hearing these stories about Lou. And you keep hearing stories about Lou. And then you meet Lou. And then Lou's just like a dude. You're like, I was expecting some Zen master. What the fuck is this? And so it's kind of that broadcast of like, okay, I've heard you're so peaceful. And then you're going somewhere, maybe like caravanning, you're driving and driving. And then like there's a car issue, somebody pulls over and the situation starts and like everybody's figuring out, cool, you got to like call tow truck or get something figured out. And you're like, wow, Lou, you're really calm. I totally understand now. Like you're not losing your game, you're not freaking out about stuff, you're not turning it into anything else, and that would be a different form of someone's peace with sort of the world around them.
Uh-huh.
Because Lou could be having inner strife, but what you're just commenting is that they're not broadcasting it. You know what
And
I
he
mean?
probably is.
Fair, fair, but these are stackable. Like once you have the light of peace within yourself, your peaceometer is at a peaceful level, meaning, all right, cool. So I popped a tire and I knew I had to get new tires soon, and my friend's bringing me a spare that I had already bought. So cool. That's stable on the peaceometer. So it's easy to like work on your broadcaster emission
Uh-huh.
state of that kind of light. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm jumping gaps real quick and I can explain how I do it later. But the next one would be the interactions that you have when you're going into dark environments. Meaning, if you, as an experience of resonance or balance or light or delightfulness, go into somewhere like you ever walked in a room and like the room's thick with tension,
For sure.
you're just like, whoa, I can like viscerally feel this. And sometimes you can just think, I love you in that room, and all of a sudden, it'll just kind of diss away because you're choosing to like, hey, I'm having an emotional experience. I'm entering the space. I'm choosing to have a cue biologically for my internal body system to change the pheromone stack that I'm broadcasting as a creature, and neurologically, the standing state of waves that are in this space are going to be affected by my presence. But in some ways, that's just people not noticing. Oh yeah, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. All right, and we moved on.
Mhm.
So that could be an adaptability for how things change and move forward. I know a lot of individuals didn't have very clear vision, and now in the year of clear vision, we're all beginning to see a little differently.
Yes, question. Um, this might help for the other fire signs or earth or whatever signs are relevant to this. But I got the chill game on lock. However, it's mostly because I operate on the momentum game. So if I'm already chill, it's really hard to disrupt the chill.
Right.
But when shit goes south, like walk into a room and that influences me heavily and triggers me, it's really hard. I could be like peace, love, light. I'm still like fuck that guy, you know,
For sure. And
because like it's there.
weird. I'd say there's two pieces that you could look to as far as your experience in that way. The first one would be something referred to as the inertia of stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the inertia of stagnation has been like you meet somebody and they just swore at somebody on the phone and you're like, ugh, and you just like have a bad taste in your mouth. And so everything you're seeing and interacting with this person is already colored through that lens,
Yeah.
a stagnant energy form where you're not trying to share positive vibes with them because you had an initial impression that was adverse. Now, you don't know that maybe that was some dude saying like, nope, I don't have that spare tire of yours. I decided that I was going to sell it to pawn shop. It's like, okay, maybe he didn't. You know what I mean? Like it
Uh,
has another piece to be connected to. Another one would be realizing what tools you have. Because maybe you've got like a lava stone or a small rock that you douse in like peppermint oil every day or something like that, and then when your body gets stuck in a rut, you notice that it's a biological thing. So you're like, cool, I need this ritual. Smell this
get
frankincense.
help.
Well, it's some kind of external influence because
Uh-huh.
we are literally reflections of ourselves, and all the things around us are trying to help us ascend. Like you
For
could zoom
sure.
out far enough that says that everything's advocating for your success.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like I forget that I don't have to do it. It's not all just pure will everything. Like me, I gotta do it. It's like, oh yeah, I can use this rock with essential oil on it to like help out because the external does fucking it does go in the other direction. It's not all just
Word, and I think what you're expressing is kind of a common symptom for super high level wizards. They try to solve everything with magic. And it's like, you could just use some low level apothecary things that work too. Like, remember, these exist.
you could have
Uh,
walked. Could have had a glass of water and sat down for a bit, like sniffed a rock, the good kind. Sniff some
fair.
good rocks.
I'm working on this urban shaman, urban mystic kind of package. So it's a little kit that I can send to people so that if they're in their reality, all of a sudden they have the magic tools. It's inspired by a book called Gabriel or Sabriel or L'Oreal. It's by Garth Nix. It's about this awesome necromancer who uses bells to kind of talk with different energies that have passed away, ancestors. It's super dope. But it's urban mystics or urban shaman ritual kit, basically. It's got like altar cloth style, so you got something to throw down the bottom and something for each sense. So maybe a couple lava stones with ylang ylang or rose oil or some kind of essential oils so that it has that kind of olfactory sensation. A couple like dried honey treats with cayenne or dried honey treats with ginger in it.
Uh-huh.
Little dots that you can just consume. nothing spectacular on them, but just something you could consume in that way so that it's a taste point. A couple tiny bells or shakers, little because in tense situations, even a that kind of rhythm will break up the standing set. We're talking about a normal operating mode. Our body
Yeah.
normal operating mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do I navigate? So with this list of different things for the different senses, the objective is to turn this into something that people could click a couple buttons on the interweb nets or scream through the dream plane, I need this thing, and then they could get the package that has here's gateways to interact with all of the different sense modalities. It would imply they know or choose to use it in some ways, but that training's another level. We're working on it.
So it's a super hack. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, I recently learned I recently learned that there were security researchers in like 2007 that performed an extremely huge global hack that got inside of the routers of thousands and thousands of people and then updated the router software and then got back out. Like it was the biggest red team blast from a white hat guy ever. And I was like, that's really nice of you.
Really? What happened?
So there was a flaw in a certain brand. I'm not sure if it was Linksys or Netgear or Zexel, like I don't remember the company of the router, but there was some router that had old firmware. And in the firmware, there was a release on the website saying, we found a critical flaw. We found a problem, and an attacker can get in your home network, and there can be a problem. And so the updates were pushed and forced, but a lot of people never had them. So there was this one security researcher who figured out how to write a script that automated using that exploit to get inside of everybody who had it availables home network like a bad guy would. And
Hmm.
then from the inside, instead of executing bad code or stealing any all the update for the router. And then that would disconnect their access because once the update's there, it would slam the door closed. Does that make sense?
Really?
Yeah.
That was thoughtful of him.
I've just so
You
I
know,
look at that and I'm looking at the things going on like,
thoughtful.
okay, we've got such a weird world right now. We can play a little more aggressive good guys in some ways.
That's awesome, dude. That's super funny. That's super funny. What a it's so funny. Dope. All right, so you're doing you're yeah, all right. So what is this? Is this a business endeavor or a website endeavor?
So this is all based around Rainbow Crystal. Rainbowcrystal.org is my platform.
All
It's
right, I'm gonna type that in.
yeah, for sure. No worries. You can check it out. It's
Oh,
creating. I'm still working on the words because once you get the frequency, once you got the idea of where I'm pointing at, it's definitely a useful concept. But solidifying a bunch of esoteric and knowledge and concepts and theories and creating sort of a common ground, a common language, so we can start talking about our body as like a mobile device for our consciousness.
uh-huh. What you do is
Because, well, so you understand why I'm trying to talk about the intricacies of our circuitry and like how our
yeah.
software systems are set up because that's a way to talk about it. And I think we could make some really good progress. See, coincidentally, now it's been really useful that for years and years and years of my life, I've been reading RPG manuals for fun. It's like there's
Yeah.
a new D&D manual out. Sweet. I'm going to learn about this. I'm going to find out what changes they made. 3.5 is different than 3. There's a Pathfinder book. This is a D20 game. Okay, World of Darkness. Okay, Shadowrun. Like, so my brain has a bunch of archetypical systems. It's like reading screenplays or scripts. So now I've tried to create a really gentle, sandboxy, metaphorical world that talks about the crystalline focus that is the water inside of our blood or the chi
Uh,
inside of our body, and then use it as a platform for upgrades.
are you having our favorite part of the RPG, which is like the you're now level 6 and have unlocked these special powers type. You have it set up because I studied RPGs in that sense for a while. Like how can I get people stoked on things that I'm doing? And I was using like RPGs as a
For sure. So I've resisted the gamification model for a long time.
uh-huh.
There's like Habitica, which is a really cool app that came out some years ago and has become really popular, where you can like assign things and say, I really want to work out. So I'm going to say working out gets me +5 strength points. So every time I do this, I'm going to look at my personal character sheet and see that I've increased my skills that way. And like if your brain's wired for that behavior, it's great. But if you don't have the intro to get that app accountability thing going on,
Uh-huh.
like it's not programmed like a slot machine like Snapchat is. So you're not
Yeah.
trying to get into it. You have to choose to get into it. It's a
Yeah,
different
that's
function.
true. Yeah.
And there's things inside of our brain that we happen to fall into rather than choose to get into. And
Uh-huh.
so that's really what I'm looking to communicate with other individuals because it's literally collaborative, open source, spiritual software.
Noted. I like that idea better, probably.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Language.
There are some apps that I've downloaded. They're like personal apps to make yourself better along those lines. Not that cool, but it was like it is something you have to choose to force. So how's your fix? If or how is your thing not just another thing that someone has to choose and loses out in that way?
For sure. This is where it becomes an interesting kind of concept to fathom. It's software for your brain, meaning there's no app store.
Uh huh.
Once you understand the concept of rainbow crystal as a metaphorical lens to look at the world through, you now have something besides a feather to put on your scales to weigh reality against.
Mm-hmm.
So you can utilize this as a form of litmus to see, okay, the blue thing is kind of a poke at the throat chakra, but I'm not subscribing to the Hindi system because hella
Mm-hmm.
people argue that they know what chakras are, whether they're wheels or software points or hard drives. Like,
Fountains,
yeah,
portals,
glands, could be anything.
hot glands.
With that in mind, we need common terms. And so I'm trying to create a newer conversation
Yeah,
that's more
that's
stable.
that's quite the endeavor.
The thing is, it's so organic because now I'm at the gamification layer because enough people are interested that I need to add more digestive enzymes.
Yeah, but you have myself included. Everyone out there is talking their own version of like the thing. Like how are we?
Right, but did you understand me?
Yes, 100%.
And I understand you.
Yeah,
So
yes.
from this reality, we are creating a new reality that's resonating at a higher frequency. And I know that the process of using rainbow crystal metaphors was a positive, rather than sometimes talking to people, they're resisting and they're like, what do you mean I'm acting too much like an amethyst? And I'm like, well, you've got all these stones and you're just fathoming stuff in your brain, but you're not really doing anything with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What does the idealized planet Earth look like in your head? Would it be a blend of all the philosophies and things, or
Dang,
like, what does that look like to you?
word for sure. I got to get a drink because we're going deep.
Take a drink, man. Take a burn. I might burn this bowl here.
Dang, word. Yeah. Hey, yeah. I
I
got
mean,
thick
pressure, no pressure, man.
levels of stress are at zero. I'm just taking a second to let the space breathe. I know we haven't talked in the broadcast for a while, and I'm getting ready to do my own podcast and broadcast like this. So I'm trying to like figure out how to channel the energy directly because there's a lot of cool things that can be done. And I know as soon as we get more people writing mods for the game, Matrix is going to get way more fun.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm stoked. I'm stoked, and dude. It's happening. There are more mods coming in by the week. I feel like
Dude, so
by the week at this point.
I think it's by the hour in some people's update cycles, but they might be running experimental unstable code.
We'll let them go first, and then
For sure, somebody has to do the alpha test.
someone's got it. So yes. Oh, I forgot there's alpha too. I always hear about beta testing, but I never hear about alpha testing.
Alpha testing usually doesn't have the GUI done. Usually, like there's still a problem in like tracking how much health you have or something, or like you
Oh,
can't. The walls don't render properly, but the rest of the game works. And the alpha's like, yeah, it's good enough. We need to get some feedback on it before we finish it for beta.
oh,
So
noted.
yeah, geek life.
All right. Did you want to continue with that other thought then, or what? Before we lose
For sure.
ourselves?
Idealized, the planet Earth would be populated completely differently because we would be utilizing the ocean in a much more positive way.
Mm-hmm.
We already know that as human beings, we can consume seaweed and different forms of coral that grow back awesomely, that support natural structures, and that are generative to the entire environment around them. However, we haven't figured out or chosen a way to begin to either create floating islands or Atlantis style underwater cities. Doesn't even have to be that deep, but just something so that we can start occupying the physical terrain of the planet. Because once you build a hempcrete dock that goes out far enough to have a biodome, something that's half underwater, so that you can utilize the natural tides for any kind of hydroponic system, the game changes because now you're looking at a sustainability model where if there is a torrential hurricane or some kind of lightning storm, you can prepare for that. So the level of belief system would have to do more with when you find the people who think like you, refine your thinking together. Find how you will approach individuals with different belief systems. Find how you feel about larger processes and begin to have honest roundtable discussions as
Mhm.
much as possible. Because it used to be you meet somebody, you don't know where they're from or their language, you don't even know they can read for the longest time. Reading's only been popular in like the last 200 years, if you think about it. Once you actually had a guest to your table with food, then you shared that energy with them. And in some Indian cultures, you greet people like 5 times. And you greet them and you say hello and you give them gifts. And then, all right, now we've said hello to each other 10 times. We can talk about the real purpose of business. And then we'll say
Like
goodbye
that.
like 10 times. You know what I mean? It's a really formal form of expression, but that in some ways has to do with an energetic and an emotional understanding of the physical etiquette that affect energetic hygiene. The grammar's not right, but the parts of
You can
physical
follow.
etiquette that affect energetic hygiene, because if your etiquette is one where you just like blast in the room and do whatever you want and you know that you're the lead of the whole situation because it's your ship or whatever and you believe that you're so in doing that, every time you enter a space everybody around you is going to get jolted. Even if they can repress it, they're going to get
Yeah.
jolted with some kind of energy because now you're in the scene and you've made it a habit to enter loud,
Uh-huh.
rather than when somebody just like they show up. Like I did backstage theater for a while, as mentioned, and that means that I can walk without making too much noises. I don't think about it, but most of the time when I'm walking, I'm practicing walk silently.
You're like a ninja.
I half ninja, half pirate, can't help it. It's just kind of what happens. So backstage theater tech, doing the concert, doing the tours as it is. That means that when I'm around people who are really, really in their own head, they're easily startled. They think I'm sneaking up on them all the time. So then they get kind of
That's freaking
paranoid.
hella funny, dude.
So then I gotta
That's
like
a great
wear things
correlation
like
to make.
it's finding a way to communicate with them because I understand that there's a different form of awareness. And so
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sneak up on them, but yeah, just in a different place.
My sister used to always do that, so I would whistle on approach of the house. Just so they knew I was approaching.
Right, right.
That's
That's
funny.
a polite form of expression.
So you want Atlantis cities
I don't
underwater?
understand why we're not utilizing some of the real estate that's there, because we're looking at populating Mars and we're looking at working on the moon and we're looking at all these things, and tensions are so high and crazy. But if you look at the square footage of the planet Earth, I think we're ignoring a huge portion of it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but when I'm in an airplane flying from here to wherever, I swear the majority of the plane is just nothing. From like LA to anywhere on the East Coast, if like from here to friggin' Texas is like nothing. It's
Yeah, Middle America
mountains,
is full.
desert, and fucking death. It looks like death the whole way to Texas, basically. Not that I
So,
want to live in the middle of the desert.
what do you think the ideal world would be?
What's that?
How do you think the ideal world would be? Reverse the question. Do you think how do you think the individuals would
Oh,
sort of sort by their beliefs? Nah?
I
Dummy?
don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking that when I asked it, I was like, if I even have a better answer, and I was like, I don't fucking think. Well,
I don't
because
know.
let me flip it back to you one more time, and I guess part B of the question that I didn't get out at the time was, are you so audacious to make the assumption that your ideal world is the right world?
I am so bold as to believe that those around me will keep me in check so it's good enough.
Fair, fair. That's how I would see it too. I mean, I guess my hangup is like I might fuck it up. I'll give it an attempt. My bad if it isn't, but on the way, I can assure you that like it'll be good.
For
We'll
sure.
have some
As a mind,
hiccups and shit.
word, as a mind form, I think it may be possible that it's impossible not to be fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
So in that way, it's just sort of a matter of mm, deciding how fractured you want the crystal to be. Because
Yeah.
if you just want one big gnash and it, all right, cool. Well, that might be all you need. But if you don't want that, maybe you have to have a lot of little spider cracks
Uh-huh.
all over the place. So I know a lot of individuals' reality models. They usually live in their mind, in their heart, or kind of in their body, in their root.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I'm running a lot of threes today. But people kind of lean in those forms. And so if you talk to somebody who's really heady and they have a lot of brainy ideas, but then they're not really connected with the world, that's one
Yeah.
thing. Somebody who's up to date on all the news and they know all the things, but they don't really have their own opinions. Versus people who are like, yeah, I don't really pay attention to what's going on. I just make things with my 3D printer. Cool, man. You're serving utility. You're doing your process.
Uh-huh. But still lacking as far as trying to get to that next level.
You'd want to be in all three of those realms together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mind, body, soul.
Running the trilogy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. My perfect world would I guess I can only fathom that far of what you just said is getting everyone to operate on all three so that we at least stop making really stupid decisions like on a global scale. Like warfare at this point is obsolete. I get it. Like you were gonna die, and it was either you or him. I get it. It's like a negative 14 degrees outside, and you're wearing like buffalo skin. I get it. But now we have enough knowledge and information and everything and the connectivity to be like, okay, I get it. We don't need war anymore. We have, it's like you're saying, all this so that like in a perfect world, it would be everyone just raising it a bit. Which I think I just described the thesis of Rainbow Crystal, right? Get a common language amongst everyone.
you're on board with the mission statement. That's what I'm looking for. Like, I'm really impressed with how you've been able to express Man of Letters, because for people who are interested in esoteric or occult information and have seen a lot of the influencers who know about it, or people who are loyal to one or the other, throwing some sage in the air just because
Hey, it hit me.
Word. You're like Shaman Depot, bro.
Like what?
You're like Shaman Depot.
Nice.
It's super awesome. It's just there's a lot of people who are looking for high quality, the correct thing, the real stuff. Like, I know I'm super picky about candles, because if I burn a candle and I smell all the oil and such, it's like, this is additives. I'm looking at all the things that you're processing, the few things that I've been able to get from you, and it's all duper duper high quality.
Hell yeah. Happy to hear it. Shaman Depot. That's funny. Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
For sure. Dang, I'm gonna throw totally left field. Are you ready?
Hit me.
What do you think of the McPlant, the plant-based burger that McDonald's released that's supposed to be out in like January, February?
I haven't heard of it, but by default, I can't trust anything from fucking.
Word. So if people try to hit you with it, a couple years ago, McDonald's penned an exclusive contract with Beyond Meat for development. And so they tested some like plant products in Canada, but they didn't release anything in the United States. That agreement dissolved like a year ago. And then about a month ago, they released their own plant-based protein burger that they'll be releasing for all of massive consumption, because they're trying to reduce the, I think the guise is going to be reduce the emissions and the utilization of the renewable resources, or the non-renewable resources, by cattle and things, by turning it into big farm operations. But like all the Impossible Burger stuff, it's really new. We don't really know what it's made of. It's not super clear in some ways.
Do they know what it's made of?
Huh?
Do they know what it's made of, or is it brand new chemicals for them too, where they're not really sure what this stuff is in the long run?
Most of these things are being patented within months of being released, so that means that there's not much testing that goes on once they have ability to mass produce it.
Yeah.
So I know there's part of an industrial district in the south part of Seattle where if you drive in the right area, like for 3 blocks, it just smells like McDonald's food nonstop, nonstop. And then you finally figure out why. Is that one of those warehouse buildings? It's running 24-hour, 365. They make every single egg McMuffin there. They create all the original things there, and then they freeze it and send it all over the world from that one location.
They're probably super fire there.
Oh, dude, it's.
I would be eating all the McDonald's in the world. I'm a big smell guy, and if I got McDonald's in the nostril 24/7, I'd be an unhappy happy man.
Dang. All right. So for the olfactory senses, we got the burn into the smoke and the sage, which is good. You did a hape much?
Only ceremonially. I haven't done it for myself, like kind of
Nithya
local.
is super dope. Nithya's taken things like cinnamon and gotu kola and dissolving it inside of ghee, and then draining that ghee up your nose, and then using that.
What kind of sorcery is that?
It's Nithya. It's
awful.
Ayurveda Yoda. It's Ayurvedic utilization stuff. It's super, super awesome because.
You pour liquid cayenne pepper down your nostril?
Not cayenne pepper.
Oh, I misheard you.
No worries. My communication is ghee, so liquid butter.
Yeah, I got the ghee part.
Right. And then you could use turmeric. You could use gotu kola. I would recommend things like cinnamon or chocolate. because it
Okay,
goes.
maybe I heard cinnamon, and I think maybe I thought something triggered something.
No
Cinnamon's
worries.
fine. That doesn't burn.
No,
Oh,
I use a Hape Caripe because I'm working with Hape ceremonially and I understand different applications of this kind of region now. I was really against any nose drugs when I was young because I didn't understand the process.
because all we have is just cocaine. Is all we think of, really.
Yeah, it's really stigmatized. I didn't really figure it out. And then I found that utilizing the breath exhaling to introduce things to the sinus membrane is a really powerful way to get things inside of the system. You just really want to be delicate with what you're putting there. So you
Fair
could
enough.
take some cinnamon and mix it inside of coconut oil and then put some of that in like a squirter and like blast it to your sinus cavity. And the coconut oil and the cinnamon's going to grab any gunk and start to pull it out in a very pleasant way.
Really, something sounds. What's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerable about
So it's you're right.
doing
It's
this.
invasive because it's a sensitive membrane. But what you want to look at is that it's actually scalded already from the amount of pollution that you've inhaled.
Fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a mind block in that kind of space, and it has to do with connecting how you want your body to change.
I'll give it a
Because
shot. It's been coming up. This the
you
cleansing
did,
of the nose. I heard the string one recently where people put a string and like
you do neti pots?
huh?
Neti pots?
I've heard neti pots. I've done the neti pot thing once.
Dang, so
It's
neti,
weird. It's just weird for me, dude. If it's something weird, it grosses me out about it. I gotta get over that.
I'd say if you don't want to go the direction of getting a caripe and working with Hape on your own kind of personal level to find a way to cleanse your sinuses that way,
It's
I
the
would recommend.
liquidy, man. I can do the hoppe. I don't mind the hoppe. It's the weird kind of shit flowing in the nostril. I don't know. I'll
Okay.
get over it though, is what I'm getting at, is because it's been coming up for sure. It's been coming up for sure.
It will be good for you, I promise.
All right. All right, fine. Just in my alchemy just jumped in, dude. Alchemy, we gotta do a trifecta roundtable. Not tonight, because we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. I haven't cracked the beer yet, dude.
Not yet. I thought today was the day.
Today's the day, but I had hella stuff to do all day today. So like now I can chill. And I got home and I was like, oh, I'm all dressed up. So I'm gonna run a live. So now after the live, I'm gonna eat and be merry.
Nice. It
But
sounds like a good choice.
yeah. So what should wait before we wrap it up? Have you tried Yopo? Speaking of nose medicines,
Yopo? Never heard of this. How do you spell it?
dude, you look it up, man. Yopo. It's there's Anadin peregrina, I think is the word. It's a seed from, of course, the Amazon rainforest, which is sort of popcorned on your stove and crushed and combined with some type of alkaline thing. Lime, like cooking lime is what most people use, or traditionally it was ground up snail shell to do the same thing, because it's dimethyltryptamine. It's DMT based, so you got to get the nasal cavity alkalized to absorb it. So that's what the lime is for. And the stories, I've tried it once with very minimal experience. It's legal, completely legal. But the stories on Arrowwood are beautiful and fantastic and awe-inspiring.
Where do you source?
Not married. Someone said I'm married. Did I say I was married? What?
Where did you source it from?
I got the seeds from. I've gotten them from a few different places at this point. This was when I was like 20, fucking 3 or 4, dude. This was a while ago, like 8 years ago, when I tried it. But there's some good spots. I guess I haven't plugged around. I mean, I haven't. I tried growing them last year, and they didn't like the greenhouse, man. They died immediately. So I got to figure out what made them unhappy. But they're easy to get, super easy to get. You can buy lots of them for cheap, and they're, like I'm saying, the Arrowwood things are phenomenal. They're like, it burns
Right.
like the Dickens, but it works.
Fears. Have
Yeah.
to check it out.
There's two species. One's Yopo and the other one's something. It's like they're close. They're close though, and they do the same thing.
Nice, nice.
Check it out, man, because I know you're barking up the shaman tree, right? You're doing the shaman. You got the
Right. I'm
combo and the.
working on studying the medicine so that I'd be able to facilitate it for individuals when we realize that we need healing fast.
Yeah.
However, in order for that to work, I realized I can't occupy that space as a healer. I have to like get in that space and occupy it as like a party member, producer, creator of it, like one of the supporters of the dimension of plant consciousness, so that other people can show up and heal, and the plant.
But I was about to say we can get the healers that by passion, and like I'm not necessarily a healer either, but I would love to be a part of this plants celebration that that we always talk about.
Facts. I think we're building for it. It's going to be the thing for 21, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going no and fuck. Be ready, guys, because we're having plant retreats starting. It looks like March, and they'll go at least once a month throughout 2021 here in Central California, Santa Barbara County, more specifically. We had like 8 this year, and they were super dope. This dude named Andres, he's a plant medicine man from Mexico City, and him and his tribe of like I want to say 4 or 5 people facilitate groups of 15 to 25, and
Nice.
out here on Chumash land, like it's dope. They're super cool. They were a success this year, so they're just doing it up, but even better this year. So stay in touch, and then like I would love to do shit with you too, man. Like we could do our own thing, which would be equally as awesome. But we'll have to hatch that out as it comes, But I just wanted to plant the seed for you guys.
To me, this is the winter season. We're apexing up where we're all coming together and getting to our closest inner space. And this is how it's always been magnetically, because then in the summertime, we expand out and then we're sharing and we're happy to share our lightness and brightness with everybody. So in this kind of inhalation, when we're reconnecting, I think it's going to be super dope because we're all headed in good directions.
Amen. Dope. So great. I'm glad I put you on that Yobo thing because that's just another tool. I know I from when I read it, dude, and when I came across it, I was like, how have I not heard of this before with all the stuff I've been diving into? So let me know what you think of these next couple of days. Like, let me know what you find. Sure. You want to wrap anything up? You want to add something?
Yeah. I just want to throw the words in everybody. Gratitude for hanging out. Remember to breathe, drink some good water, and be ready for the 21st. Get enough sleep, do the self-care. Make sure you're primed and ready for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. Len K. Candy Mikowski. Well, Alchemy, thanks for stopping. Well, I should be able to run another live tomorrow for my normal Sundays. Maybe Alchemy, if you want to jump on sometime, but don't quote me. And who else? Len K. Smith, thank you so much for links on plant burgers from McDonald's. Well done. I should have known. Nice. Is that it? All the stuff? All right. Cool. Well, thanks, man. I'll keep you posted in these next 24 hours or so.
For sure. Gratitude. Thank you much. Take care.